All right, today we're cracking open a very old, very strange case file. We're not just investigating a crime, we're investigating a cosmic one. This is an ancient and honestly pretty radical story about how our universe came to be. But in this version, it wasn't some grand design, it was a catastrophic mistake. So let's get into it, open the file, and see where the evidence takes us.
Our whole investigation today really boils down to this one single, mind-bending question. What if everything you see around you, the stars, the planets, even us, what if none of it was intentional? What if it's all just the result of a glitch, an error that happened in a place that was supposed to be perfect? That's the core idea we're about to explore.
You know, to really understand a crime, you have to see what things looked like before it all went wrong. We have to look at the blueprint for perfection. In these ancient Gnostic texts, this place is called the Pleroma. It literally means the fullness. This was the original, flawless realm of eternity, the state of being before the accident.
So this perfect place had a kind of divine hierarchy. At the very top, you have the One, sometimes called the monad. It's the absolute, unknowable source of literally everything. Its first thought, its first reflection, is Barbelo. Think of her as the cosmic womb where everything begins. And from them, you get Autogenetes, the self-generated one, who's basically the manager of creation. A perfect divine trinity.
Now, Autogenesis isn't running this whole operation solo. He's got a whole divine administration working under him, headed up by four key figures known as the four luminaries. You can think of them as the heads of four cosmic departments. Each one is in charge of a fundamental piece of reality, and each one has their own team of eternal beings, or eons, working for them. And here's the org chart, so to speak. You've got Hamozel, who handles the pure prototypes, things like grace, truth, and form. Then Orielel is in charge of cognition, conception, perception, memory. After that is Devathai, who oversees big concepts like understanding and love. See, everything is perfectly ordered, perfectly structured. But our investigation leads us straight to that fourth and final department, the one run by Elelith, because this, the source tells us, is where it all goes wrong. Okay, so we're zeroing in on Elelith's department. And get this, the source actually calls this area the high accident zone. This is the origin point, the ground zero for the cosmic flaw. And the irony? This was the department in charge of planning. The one place where a plan was supposed to come together is exactly where it all fell apart. And here's the first bit of incredible irony. A key player, a key eon in this department is named Phronesis. It means perfection or careful planning. But this is the very administrative unit that ends up producing the single biggest mistake in the history of all existence. It kind of makes you wonder if the whole concept of perfection in this system was just a word, right? The second figure in this department is named Irene, which means peace. But the source doesn't pull any punches. It calls this the greatest lie. And why? Well, because while this eon was supposed to represent tranquility, it just stood by and did nothing while our violent, chaotic material world was born. It was a false peace, one that kept things calm up top by sacrificing everything down below. So if Elelith's department is the scene of the crime, who's our prime suspect? Well, it all points to the 12th and final aeon under his command, a being named Sophia. And her name, you can't make this up, means wisdom. Let's pull up the investigator's file on Sophia. She's the youngest of all the aeons. Her position is absolutely crucial here. She is the farthest away from the divine source, from the One, and she's dangerously close to the edge of the Pleroma, to the outer darkness. And her nature? She's restless. As wisdom, she has this built-in drive to create, to imitate the source, to see how far she can push the boundaries. This whole combination basically makes her the perfect candidate to make a huge mistake. And here it is, the transgression itself, step by step. First, she acted alone. She went ahead with a creative act without her divine partner, her syzygy, which was a huge violation of cosmic law. Second, she tried to copy the original creative act of the One, but she just didn't have the full power to pull it off. And the result of this unauthorized, botched creation? An absolute cosmic disaster. She gave birth to something malformed, ignorant, and incredibly arrogant. And that being is the Demiurge. He is the mistaken creator god of our physical universe. He has no idea about the Pleroma, about the perfect world above him, so he arrogantly runs around thinking he's the one and only true god. The source material paints him as this abusive, blasphemous tyrant, the architect of a broken world, and the jailer of all the divine sparks trapped inside it. But our investigation doesn't stop with just finding the culprit. Oh no, the source material goes way beyond that. The story shifts from being about creation to being a full-on prophecy of judgment. It lays out a dramatic and absolutely unflinching verdict for this cosmic crime. And here is the final, incredible twist in the case. Turns out, Sophia wasn't just acting on some restless impulse. The source alleges that her boss, the luminary Elenith, was the real mastermind. He secretly allowed her to create the demiurge, and for that, the text prophesies that he and all his cronies will face eternal torment. The punishment that's described is so specific, it's almost poetic. All the pain and suffering that defines our material world, the very flawed world they allowed to be created, that's going to become their new reality. The sensory pains of physical life will literally become their eternal companions in a kind of cosmic prison. And this judgment, it's for everyone involved. No one gets a pass. It's not just for the demiurge. It extends to his entire network. Sophia, who created him, Elileth, who backed him, all of them. The source is crystal clear. They will all face an eternity of regret and what it calls a cosmic level of torture for their part in this whole mess. And this brings us to the source's final, chilling declaration. As our reality gets further and further from the truth, as it becomes more chaotic and unjust, or magical as the text poetically describes it, judgment isn't just a possibility anymore. It becomes an absolute necessity. A cosmic rebalancing has to happen. So, we're left with this, a story where our world is an accident, our creator is a fraud, and the divine administration that was supposed to be perfect was, at best, totally negligent. It's a powerful, really disturbing story, and it leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. If it was Sophia, wisdom herself, who made the critical mistake that created our flawed reality, what does that really say about the true nature, and maybe even the inherent dangers of knowledge itself?